more about the reality of the world. May all the seeds fall in the right place and give many, many fruits. We appreciate our teachers and remember them for wishing them good health, long life, and may they continue sharing all this wonderful and valuable information. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
So today we are going to continue with the mental factors, Cetasika. So we are going to continue with the ethically variable ones and see if we can go a little bit further. Okay, so last time we have been looking at the universals that we finished already, and today we are going to occasionals, and we still have two groups, and we will see if we can do some of this today. So before we continue with today's content, let's do a very quick revision of last week's Cetasikas. There are 7 of them, the universals. So the first one, when the eye or ear or any sensitive matter get in touch with its correspondent object, then there is a contact that happens, yes? So that's the first Cetasika, phassa. Mental contact, or the mind itself with the mental object that get in touch, that get contacts, then the eye consciousness, ear consciousness, and then it arises, and that function of that touching each other is called phassa. That's the first Cetasika that we saw last week, universal, that happens in all kinds of citta, because every citta must have an object. Yes, without object there is no citta. Anything? No? Okay, so that's the first one. Then we saw the next one that you're very familiar with already, Vedana, and mental feeling. Then we have pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral in 3 big categories, yes? Okay, so that's the second one. Also, the ones that we are going to see now, the 7 universals happens, again I will repeat, in all kinds of cittas. They are a must for any kind of citta. Then we have sanya, perception in English. That's when the mind makes marks and saying, oh, this is this, this is that, and remember it. And the next time when we see that object again, then the mind knows, oh, this is this, this is that, as I have seen before. But as we said last time, sanya can be right, sanya can be wrong. So this is not so trustworthy. And so
not at all.
That's perception. Yes.
Heavily not reliable.
Yes. Okay, then we have chetana, which is very important. Chetana, volition, and that is what the Buddha calls karma. That's the one that counts, that plants the seeds, yes? So the example is that he is the one who encourages all other associated mental factors, like all the team members of that citta, to work together to do their own job, properly, no? So say, for example, chetana will encourage Vedana to feel like experience it fully, no? So he will encourage phassa and all manasika, all other associate, and also sometimes, of course, we are not there yet, but dosa or lobha or metta, loving kindness or greed or whatever it may be, his work is to encourage everybody to do their own job properly, and also with volition, no? Like also like the volition behind the action. Then we have ekagata, concentration. So as we said last week already, concentration here means that the mind is concentrated and focused on its object. But because it is so fast, so now it's concentrated on this object, and then the next mind concentrated on its object. So sometimes we may feel that we have no concentration at all, but that's because it's throughout a long period of time. But every citta must have some kind of, even if it is very weak, concentration, otherwise it won't take the object properly. So that's the ekagata that we are talking about here. But well developed with skill, then this kind of ekagata can even become jhana, can become so strong concentration. It is the same mental factor that is happening in all kinds of chittas. Now, the next one is jivitindriya. The example is like it is like water, life faculty that sustain all other mental associated mental factors, and it sustains itself as well. So this is mental life faculty that keeps the mind alive. And the last one of this group is called manasikara, attention, which is, the example is like the horse driver, the cart driver, directing all the horses. In this case, the horses are all other mental factors, directing them to the direction, to the goal, and the goal is the object in this case. Or it can be also example as like a rudder of the ship. So it's turning towards the direction, towards the goal, towards where they're going. So he directs everybody, let's go to that object. So this is the job of manasikara, attention. Okay, so now here we have the 7 universal cetasikas that we have seen last week. Until here, have any questions or comments or anything?
Yes, I would like to see the difference between attention and concentration.
Attention, manasikara, as we said, directs the mind to the object. So let's say we are going to that direction. But concentration is focused on it. So it doesn't let the mind go somewhere else. So it stays there. It keeps the mind concentrated on that object. So they have different functions. One is directing, and the other one is focusing. Staying.
So there is no concentration without attention.
Impossible. These 7 always come together.
All of them together, always.
Because they are universals. So there are, whenever any kind of chitta arises, be it kusala, ahusala, even resultant and functional, this 7 is always there. This is like the basic. So they always happen together. Without any of them, it doesn't happen.
So manasikara is the steering wheel, and concentration is the motor, is the power that is getting the object, staying there. But the other one is changing that concentration.
Going direction.
Like here, now concentrated here, concentrated here.
Here.
This is the one that changes.
Yes, Alex?
Jivitindriya will be the responsible for carrying on consciousness when one dies, like.
No, jivitindriya actually, it happens together. It's one cettasika. It happens in this chitta, and when this chitta passed away, this jivitindriya also passed away.
Okay.
Another jivitindriya will arise with another chitta that sustain only 3 moments. Last time we saw already arising moment, existing moment, and passing away. Yes, so this jivitindriya only sustain these 3 moments, and it also passes away himself. Then another mind arises with together also again with jivitindriya that sustain that mind, that chitta.
You can see this is then, if it is a car, that is the steering wheel, concentration is the motor, this is the fuel. This is the gas that is keeping the thing moving. Without it, then the mind won't be able. But karma is stronger than this. So what passes to one to the other will be the force of karma, which is enveloping all of this process.
Actually, like one chitta arises and another pass away and arise pass away, no? So there are many conditions. In chapter 8, we're going to see all 24 conditions. So like Bhante said, karma is one. Then we have also many other kinds of conditions. Then we won't say too much now because we get into confusion because we haven't explained yet. But there are many conditions to support one mind for another. Even material quality also support the mind, and vice versa, no? So many conditions. So but jivitindriya is only one mental factor that is universal, that sustains that chitta, and it passes away, and another one arises, passes away. Something else? No? Okay, so let's go further. So now let's go to occasionals. Yes?
You can use laser maybe.
Okay, yeah, it's true. Aquí, no? Yeah. So now we are looking at anyasamana, common to others. That means that it can associate with all kinds of chittas, and they are ethically variable like water or like flour, as we explored last week. then depend on what other spices we put, then it becomes spicy or it becomes sweet, the dish that we are making. So universal we already finished, then now we are in occasionals. Universals, as we said, then it's always there, happens in all kinds of chittas. Then occasionals are sometimes there, sometimes not. So, yes, okay. Now, occasional in Pali here is called pakinaka. Pakinaka means they, this category, same as universal, they still can associate with kusala, vipaka, and kriya also. But sometimes yes, sometimes no, depend on the situation, depends on occasions. And this depend on what or how, and then in chapter 3 we are going to look at it, so it will come. Now, in occasionals, we have 6. So now we will introduce the 6 of them like we did last time, and then we will go into them one by one. So let's say this is a chitta, then these 7 universals is always there, must be. So it's like a basic. Now then it comes the parts that sometimes there, sometimes not, depends on what kind of chitta. And so from this orange one is sometimes, this is a must, yes? So in this occasional ethically variable one, so meaning that they can be kusala or can be akusala, or other, depending on other mental factors. First one, we have vitaka, initial application. Then we have vichara, sustained application. And then we have adhimokkha, which is determination. Then we have viriya, effort. And we have piti, joy. And then we have chanda, wish to do. So these 6 are the universal, ethically variable occasionals. So that means that they're sometimes not. So as you see, some of them it's already familiar because we have seen them before already. Say for example, okay, so there are, for example, PTES, what else you have seen? Vitaka, vichara, also we have seen already. Where? In the jhana factors, remember? So we have already seen them, some of them. Yes, so vitaka, vichara, and piti, we have already actually seen them during when we explored about the jhana factors. There are 3 of them. So you see sometimes they are there, sometimes they are not. But we will go into details now. So let's take a little look. Remember vitaka, vichara, and piti. In jhana factors we have already seen. And also in jhana factors we have sukha and ekagata, yes? But sukha here actually is one type of vedana, yes? So we have already seen it in the universal. And then ekagata also is universal, so we have also seen it. So
Ekagata, which is concentration.
so the 5 one-pointedness, the 5 jhana factors, then we have already seen 2, and now these 3 also. We are going to take a look at that in universal. Okay. So let's go to vitaka, initial application first. As we have seen before, we will see it, the characteristic, the function, manifestation, and proximate cause of vitaka, initial application. So what vitaka does is that it applies the mind onto the object. Now it may sound a little bit how or like this, so we will come into more details now, but let's just take a look at the 4 devices. And what it does, the function, and the function is to strike and hit against the object. It goes with the object. It applies the mind, sticks the mind to the object. Then it's manifest as the leading of the mind onto an object. And its proximate cause is the object itself, because without the object it is not possible to stay on the object now. So let's take a little bit look to make it more easy to understand. So it's like we're putting a sticker. So let's say this is the mind and that's the object, so we stick the mind to the object. So we applied it to the object. So the function of vitaka is to apply there. So there is a little bit difference between vitaka and manasikara, remember? Because manasikara, it directs the mind to go there, but vitaka stick it there.
Starts touching the object. The one
It holds
turns,
it.
and then the other one holds it, but doesn't know what it is yet until the next one, when the mind starts investigating it, then is vichara.
Vichara, yes, they all happen in the same time now, but everybody does their own function. function. So like team members, like a company, the whole team, then everybody do their own job in order to complete the project, but everybody has their own function and they work together. So it's different from Manasikara in the way that Manasikara directed, and Vitaka, initial application, stick the mind to the object. Now Vichara, in the same way, is the continued pressure on the object in the sense of examining it. So once the sticker is stick there, so it sustain it, keep it there, and then it looks at it, what is it? It investigate a little bit, examine what is it. That's the job of Vichara. And its function is the sustained application of the associated mental factors to the object. So Vichara keep everybody staying with the object in this case. It sustains them to be applying themselves on the object. And its manifestation is like an anchor of the mental factors to the object. And its proximate cause is the object itself. So now we will see a little bit more daily example to make it easier. As we explored in the jhana factors, Vitaka and Vichara, say for example, when a person is making a pottery, Vitaka would be one hand that is holding the clay, and Vichara would be the hand that is shaping the clay. Because if you don't hold it and you shape it, it will collapse. So you have to hold it and then you can shape it. So Vitaka and Vichara, although one is initially applied and then they sustain apply, sounds like it happens one then after another, but actually they're doing their job at the same time. One is holding and another is examining. Yes? And we can also say Manasikara goes to the direction, Vitaka takes it, holds it, and Vichara keep holding it. So go there, Manasikara, then where Vitaka gets it and Vichara holds it for a longer period of time. Yes, so that's kind of the description of these three different mental factors and their functions. Yes, any question? Yes?
There cannot be any Vichara without Vitaka, right?
No.
Can be, yes, can be.
When?
In the jhana,
Yeah.
In the jhana, if you remember when we talked about jhana, then there are 5 jhanas, yes? So the first jhana has the Vitaka, Vichara, Piti, Sukha, Ekagata,
Yes.
all 5 mental factors. Then when the meditator, he becomes so concentrated on the mind, then he doesn't need to be all the time going to the object anymore, so he dropped Vitaka, and so he only keep Vichara, Piti, Sukha, Ekagata. Then later on he dropped Vichara, and so only Piti, Sukha, Ekagata. That's the third jhana. Then he drops again and drops again. Yes. So
But
it's possible.
in terms of
Daily,
common
usually
working of the
together.
mind, always the two of them are there.
Most
Unless we are in deep meditation, which is quite high, then they start separating because the mind is getting simpler and simpler and simpler and simpler.
So that's why they're occasional.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Yes, not always there. Sometimes not necessary. Yes.
Phasa and Vitaka.
Phasa
Pasa
and
always.
Vitaka. Phasa is the contact. So phasa, his function is for the consciousness. Say for example, eye consciousness. So take the example. So for eye consciousness, the object and the sensitive matter, that is the matter. Now eye sensitivity. For these 3 things to contact, come together. So that's the job of phasa. That's the contact, and it is inevitable. It is a universal. So it must always be there. But Vitaka, to take the object, and in this case, to stick it there is sometimes necessary, sometimes not. Because it's occasional also, so sometimes it's different.
Phasa, even in the highest mental states of meditation, the mind is touching the concept of the thing that is getting the mental object that is getting concentrated with. Even if it is the 5th jhana, the mind is still touching that object, still touching, but it's not reaching to anything or investigating. That is long ago. The mind is only staying with something and touching it, and the universals are all happening there.
Yeah, phasa is like a natural process that it must happen. Without phasa, then the mind cannot happen, because if there's no object to get in touch with, any consciousness, any chitta, then the chitta cannot arise.
There's no mind.
There's no mind. Without fasa, there's no mind.
So actually the fact that we experience reality is because of fasa. We think we are that, but actually the mind is that. The mind is touching what we see, the mind is touching what we hear, the mind is touching what it thinks. So through contact, reality happens. If there was no contact, for example, a person who is blind or deaf, that object won't be able to have
Eye consciousness cannot happen.
in a blind person, eye consciousness cannot happen because the organ that is in charge of touching the light is not functioning. So there might be another areas of the brain or the senses working, but we need to be in contact. So actually, contact is the interface that connects us through the inner reality in touch with the physical reality, the light, all which is matter, light, sound waves, and vibration or sensation, heat and cold. So that is the thing that is actually the very link with it. And then the mind starts doing its thing. The contact is there, then the mind decides to touch it, then the mind decides to investigate it, then starts the thinking process. But we are looking at the very, very primitive, or I cannot say primitive, essential, basic essential functioning of the mind in order for us to think, to experience, perceive reality and be what we think we are, but actually is many workers doing the thing, not even one, and most impressively, no one is leading them. It's just a natural process that what to do, nature is just moving. There is no one saying, okay, you do this, do that. There is no conductor, there is nothing there, no atta, no self, no soul doing that. The mind is just cause and effect, doing what the trees do, what the wind do, and what the volcanoes do because of conditions.
In the highest jhanas, the universals will be present as well,
Yes.
like
Yes.
Ikagatambera.
Yes, even in enlightenment jhana.
So you don't drop them.
Never.
That is impossible.
Okay.
It is kind of, that is the
Basic.
very thing for the car to move. So you can drop the stickers and you can drop the seating things and the trunk, but these 7 guys, they must be there for the mind to continue doing its job. Even when we are in coma, these things are there. When we are deep sleep, in so-called unconscious, these elements will be there because one of them, for example, Jivitindriya, which is the life faculty, the one who pushes up, is keeping the mind alive, still alive there, something is there. So if one of them is out, I think the mind
cannot arise.
collapses. It collapses.
Basically just cannot arise without. So that's the simplest form, let's say, must be at least, the 7 and the mind itself, no chitta itself. No? So it cannot be simpler than that.
Can't
So
take anything away.
Oh, sorry. While there's a living, breathing body, there's a mind, and then there's the 7 of them.
Yes. Minimum, as a minimum.
It doesn't matter how the body works. If you're, I don't know, in a mental.
If there is a mind, there must be the 7, actually usually plus more, these occasionals
Yes.
and more. But that 7 is always the basic plus more things.
And you can think on animals. Animals have touch with the senses and they know and then they react. Then the reaction is already much more complex. It's when lobha, dosa, moha or love comes with it.
Yeah.
But this later on we will see when all the ingredients, these are the basic, but even person in coma or heavily ill or an accident or something that is really, as long as the mind is still attached to the body, so that means he's alive or she's alive,
Exactly.
these ingredients will be there. But we don't know what the mind is touching. Maybe a person in coma is not touching through the eyes anything, but maybe the mind is doing some tasting some mental objects still
It's not
inside.
maybe, actually it must
Yeah,
be,
okay.
because if there is no object, there is no mind. So let's say, for example, when we are sleeping or even dying or whatever it may be, the mind must have an object. So it can be different object. What kind of object? In chapter 3 we're going to see. So you will know, even in deep sleep there is an object and everything. So that contact is with that object in that case. Says eye consciousness, then the object of course is in sight or sound or anything, no? So it depends, but this basic function must be
Must
with,
be
with
there. So
everything
we are
else.
looking at the very, how you say that word is,
The core.
the core, the essential ingredients for a functioning mind. The basic,
Well-
you were saying.
Well, what will happen after enlightenment with this?
After
This won't
enlightenment,
happen.
no chitta
Not,
arise
not
anymore.
none of them.
Mm.
Finish.
Yeah.
Because it
So then
these chittasikas,
process-
this chittasikas, sorry.
it's like when the train arrives, no? It's like you are arrives to a thing and all the pressure, all the suffering, and then the train. Just- Huh?
No chittas anymore. It will not arise.
It will not
anymore.
arise
Say-
anymore. The process
No,
is
not
ceased.
when he is still alive and when he died. Say for example,
After parinibbana,
after he
parinibbana.
died,
After he died.
after he died,
The arahant dies, then no more mental process, no more physical,
after he died.
no more physical body. You will be surprised when we arrive to chapter 4 and to Paticca Samuppada. Actually, because we have consciousness, the mind, the body arises. This body is here because of consciousness. Consciousness creates the human body.
It's one part of now
One
because
part
there are four causes for
Karma
metta
also.
to arise, and so mind is one, and temperature is another, nutrition is another. If we don't eat, we also die.
But in terms
And
of
also-
Paticca Samuppada, consciousness arises nama and rupa. So it is one of, let's say, is one of the stronger ones that creates this. So that thing is very powerful.
Let's not get too
Yeah.
far there. We are not there yet, and otherwise we get.
You actually
Okay.
gave us a preview in like the first classes when you said that like you said today, the car is not a car
Mhm.
only if it's a wheel. So it's the same with the body. It cannot stick together if there's no mind, right?
Yes.
Yes, it will be a chair.
Body
or it will
without
be
mind
some
is a
kind
dead
of-
person. Is a dead body.
Yeah, it all is dead body in the case, but it's not alive, or it's like not different from a piece of lock, no.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
You were asking something, or we went through?
No, let's
Yeah.
go.
This is the philosophical question of the Greeks. So reality exists without the mind?
There are four kinds of reality according to the Buddha: Chitta, Cettasika, Rupa, and Nibbana. So Chitta is a kind of reality that exists, that is mind itself, Chitta. And then Cettasika actually together, no, because they always arise together, cannot be separated. But the Buddha makes it into very detailed, and so Chitta and Cettasika. Then we have Metta. Metta meaning this matter or this matter, anything that is a material quality also exists in this universe. And if you say that a chair exists without mind, yes, but in a person, no. So it would depend on what kind of matter. Then Nirvana is the ultimate reality is a state where there is beyond mind and matter, and it does not depend on condition for it to arise. So this depends on condition for it to arise. So this is the four kind of reality that the Buddha taught.
So the question for that, I will say that the Buddha will come something fun. So the question is, does reality exist without the mind? And the Buddha will say yes to both. The Buddha will say reality, if we don't perceive reality, I mean the Mount Everest exists right now,
Yeah.
but not in our reality. It depends which reality you are talking about. The real reality, yes, the Mount Everest is right now here and has been for millions of years there. The fact that we are not experiencing it directly through the eyes, but we are not thinking about it. So actually the Mount Everest exists in our concepts. We have, maybe not all of us have been, so in our reality, conceptual reality, in whatever we know about each of us, which will be different on each, so we cannot establish a reality which is ultimate in our conceptual reality because we have different ideas about it. Maybe someone went and it has a clearer image. So in our conceptual reality, it exists. When we go and see it, it's only existing about our visual reality, so to say. So we can say that ultimately, yes, it is there. And ultimately, if the mind does not experience it, if we don't remember the Mount Everest, or we never have contact with Mount Everest, in our reality, it will never exist. So the Buddha will say yes to both. It's like, bam, what to do now? It's worse
But
than
also it depends, because say for example a person doesn't know Mount Everest, it does not mean that there is no Mount Everest.
Yes, that's the
there.
thing.
Yeah, no. So it is exists in itself, but at the same time the Buddha also explained two kind of realities. conceptual reality, as Bante said, and ultimate
Ultimate
reality.
reality.
Conceptual reality, we call that Mount Everest, but is only a concept.
Mount
Because
Everest
what is
doesn't
it?
exist.
It doesn't exist. It's only sand and stone and things and matter. It's just only a bunch of matter in that ultimate reality.
And someone in this reality, in this planet, decide to call it Mount Everest,
Yeah.
and now we all agree, okay, let's call that thing, that pile of rocks, let's call it, with snow on top, let's call it Mount Everest. But not even Mount Everest exists, so it depends which lens you are looking. So ultimately 4 things exist. Nibbana, which is beyond mind and matter, mind, and rupa, which is matter. So yes, it does exist, even if we perceive or not. When we get enlightened and die, we won't perceive anything of this, but the Buddha says that samsara will continue rolling with billions and trillions and quadrillions of beings rolling on this thing that we are now in. So yes, it exists, but no, because we are not. Yes and no, both at the same time. Yes and no, to four.
Yeah. So we decide to call it Mount Everest maybe after 1 million years. Say, hey, do you know Mount Everest? Which? You mean Mount Victoria?
Like the stretching with
Otherwise we can call it anything. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
Mount Lakepaki.
yeah, let's continue. Is that okay? Guillermo?
Go away,
No,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it's,
Okay.
I have to think
How,
about it.
how you felt it? How you felt the
Well,
possibility?
I think it's a new thing for me, of course, and to understand the complexity of what is reality, which I think is the most important questions philosophers have done during centuries. So this is a new position. In
Yeah,
fact,
One of the things that the Buddha encouraged and teacher often encourage us to open to is that a thing can be, for example, we say to be or not to be, isn't it? That
Yes.
was the question, but it is the Buddhist view is too narrow. For to be or not to be is like dualistic way, which is the way we are actually kind of live in. Either it is or either it is not. But then the Buddha comes and says, you know, it can be and it cannot be at the same time. It is one. It isn't. No, it is and it isn't at the same time. And the beautiful thing is that quantum physics has been saying that from a few decades from now. They say, you see, matter exists, matter does not exist, and matter exists and not exist at the same time. Matter can be here, can be there at the same. So it is unbelievable the links that there are with the way the Buddha understood reality, and the very fringe, the last findings of quantum mechanics and quantum physics are saying the same thing. Matter can be and not be at the same time there. So there is the third possibility, which is one that we will be very helpful if we start getting familiar with. It is not, and it is and is not at the same time. So we are opening to the third, and then on that moment, the frictions, even social frictions of war, I think it is not, okay, let's fight. Then both says, okay, both are. Then immediately all this decompressing. When we start understanding the big picture and the third option we put it in, there is no more conflict, and then everything starts making sense, and karma makes sense. Cause and effect makes sense. So we must move beyond yin and yang, and this is something, that's why we must separate. Although historically the Taoist view of female, male, or positive, negative has been mixed with Buddhism, and teachers are very emphatic, keep it out, because it's actually it's not the teaching of the Buddha, and it's making the mind narrow, and it's not allowing us to opening to the third option, which is both at the same time, and everything releases there. It's like, of course, everything makes sense. It is and it is not. So Shakespeare will be very, very pleased to be here. To be or not to be, yes. To be, not to be, and to be or not to be, same together.
But anyway, the Buddha explained that ultimate reality really exists is Chitta, Cetasika, Rupa, and Nibbana, four things. And then with this, then we can separate into ultimate reality and conceptual reality. Conceptual reality can be many things, no? But it is only concept. In ultimate reality, when it's divided, it always comes to only these four things, nothing more than that.
Something important to point out is that what we have been studying all the Sundays here is ultimate reality. We are looking at the thing that really there is in animals, in us, believers, non-believers, rich or poor, people have contact with light. People have contact with sound. So we are actually going beyond conceptuality, and that is the beauty of what we are doing Sundays here. Checking the very source of the... So without ideas, we were no ideas, just nature, as science, as a medical field.
Okay? Yes, so let's continue. So now we have Vitaka and Vichara. Yes, so let's go to Adhimokkha. Now Adhimokkha is determination. It's like a strong determination, but here is in the sense that its function of this member of that mind is like, okay, this is the object. So it holds on it firmly, with determination. Okay, this is it. So it's also compared to a stone pillar. It is so strong and it is so unshakable and so firm on the object. And so this is the function of Adhimokkha, determination. So sometimes it is there, sometimes it is not, depending on the situation. Now,
for example, when we just wake up and the mind is like, that moment Adhimokkha, even if it was there, it was very weak Adhimokkha like this. So there is not possible to hold something and be very clear about it.
remember we studied 89 or 121 types of chitas, yes? So those 89 and 121, which one are associated with Adhimokkha, which one does not, we will come to see it later. So each type of chitta, which one, what kind of mental factors is associated with, and what it cannot or what it does not, and later in chapter 3 we will see one by one, so it will become very clear and why and all these things. Yes. So now remember we are still looking at ingredients. We are now not cooking yet. So when we know all the utensils and all the ingredients, now we can cook which can combine with which and which does not, like with this water and oil, they don't combine well, or like this and that. So
we have a very good Russian friend. Two Russian, it's a couple. We have mentioned them in the course before. So the wife, she made a chart.
yes.
I mean a chart.
Excel sheet that you
Excel
have
sheet,
moving like this or moving like
and
this.
she
is so
put
big.
the 89 cheetahs and the 121 cheetahs and the 52 chetasikas on top, and which ones connect in which moment. We will pass you when it is time.
Not which moment,
but which ones
chitta
contain
associate with which kind.
who associates with whom when you look at it. To do that, when I saw the file, when she said, should I pass you this? And then you scroll and start looking where it comes, this one with this one. We will when we arrive into the third chapter, we will share it, so you will.
Yes.
It is there already on that Excel format.
And it is actually the possible combinations, and also depend on situation. Sometimes it will be less, but it is all the possibility. That for example, since we're talking about this, say for example, Loba Mula Chitta with DT and unprompted, let's say. So this kind of chitta, which mental factors can go with it. So that possibility.
So we will arrive to the moment. It's just for curiosity. You can really, whenever there is an ethical debate, or was it this good, was this not good? Okay, just bring the chart. Okay, which ingredients were there? This one. Like making calculation. All the morality and all the emotions will come. Just yes, it is this one. Yes, it is akusala, or it is kusala. Period. You planted a good seed. You planted a bad seed without any doubt, because you just saw the ingredients and see which one was the. I mean, as long as our perception don't flip them. DT and Sanya doesn't play tricks, but can.
Okay, so let's go continue with the ingredients. Now we are in Adhimokkha determination. Let's see. Its characteristic is conviction. So like we're convinced about something. Its function is not to hesitate. So it's like very firmly on that object. And its manifestation is decisiveness, like very decided about the thing. And its proximate cause is something to be convinced about. So this is the characteristic and function, manifestation.
That's why it is occasional. If there is not something to be convinced about, let's say when we are waking up, the mind has no cause for this Adhimokkha, this ingredient to arise. So that's why sometimes it's there, sometimes it is not. Difference with the universals that we just saw.
It sounds a bit similar with perception to me in terms of that it kind of stamps and marks.
It's a little bit different.
Perception
because-
is like a servant and says, okay, something, and pass it. And determination already has a little bit more of something, but it is a glass thing. It is already
But it's
starting
just-
to give a. It knows clearly. It knows clearly what it is, and perception is just the fact that things, information is coming in, and perception, yes, it is marking, and some of them are, for example, these two, as you see, they are like cousins. They are like in a company. You also have couples and trios that work to do some things. For example, the company needs to do something specifically, and then you know with whom to associate to do.
The cheetah that when all these cheetah seekers come together, they must work together with the same object. So actually everybody is doing different function but with the same thing, no? But what is different is that sanya, perception, is a universal chetasika. It must be there. It's always there. So even if you wake up or whatever, even if you're asleep, sanya is still there because sanya is a perception, universal chetasika that cannot be not. But animoca is something that you have to be convinced about that object. So it is more a little tiny bit more active cheetahs will have animoca, but more passive cheetah will not have. It will have sanya, but it will not have animoca if the cheetah is passive.
Something that we need to get used to is, for example, perception. Whatever we understand about perception through our cultural and national and lingual, how you say, language, because of language, perception, we have a word. When we arrive to the Abhidhamma, it's like taking that word and dissecting it into its own parts. So for example, what we understand as consciousness, now we're starting to see, actually what I thought of consciousness is actually all these little things. Now about perception, this one has a part to do, but it is when it is stating, and then the other one is the fact that our senses are working, kind of just getting and marking. It was this, it's just passing information like in this way. And this one is a little bit more, because it can be already focused with Vitaka and Vichara. It's a little bit more knowing of it, and it is passing it with more intention. And we must see if there is ignorance on top, ignorance is making to all that process, is doing this. So it's passing the there or there like this. And if wisdom is there, so we will see all the cake that is coming up. If wisdom and concentration is there, Adimokkha is doing this very carefully, and if metta was there, even lovingly is passing the thing. So the mind, the ingredients of the mind, depending with who is in the present moment at each chitta that we're experiencing, it's coloring the functioning of all of this. So we can determine that's my enemy, or that's my love. Take something, please be safe. So it will be very very interesting to see that.
Yeah, just to again remind everybody that because we are looking microscopic, we are looking at not only even one chitta, no, like billions of chitta in a second, not only one chitta, but the ingredients inside one chitta. So it is very small. But according to our experience, according to how we cannot experience one mind, one chitta, and know all these ingredients as like that. So what we are trying to explain or like that, we have to keep that in mind, that we are looking at really microscopically. So if we put our experience onto this, then it will be very different, because until we experience that we are convinced about something, billions of mind have already gone. So how many processes the mind has already done when we think we are being convinced about something? But actually we are talking about only one chitta that has this ingredient. So we have to keep like I mean, if we put our experience in trying to understand it, it will never be precise, let's say, because there's only one chitta, not like one chitta. We are looking at the very microscopic.
It's like a microbiologist looking at germs. I mean, you can know the families, but pointing only one and following, it will be impossible.
Different.
So you cannot. We need to get the going. We're now taking a look at the small things, and then later on we need to step back and start looking. Oh, this organism functions like this, and actually I am that organism. So then we start making tweaks on. And just reminding that these ingredients that we're looking are quite neutral. They can be good or bad depending with whom.
Variable.
Ethically variable, yes.
Yes.
I was wondering, any of these occasionals implies, in a way, some other occasionals. For example, Adimoka implies virilla,
Could be, yes.
but also implies kama, chetana. I mean,
No,
that
Chetana will be
Chetana
there
is
always.
always, because if not,
Yes.
there is no possibility
Yes.
of making hesitations,
Yes,
because
but
you are making decisions.
yes.
And
But
there is
Virilla will
actions.
be, as you said, both are occasionals. Yes, if the
They combine,
determination is there,
They
and then
Combine or not depends on what kind of chitta, and also that's the cooking part of it, no? Like all the ingredients
I'm-
and little bit.
yes, little bit of the active.
But
Okay,
yes.
yeah, because it's
You
very
will
attractive for me to, well,
What,
this
what
implies
goes with
this and
what?
this implies
Yes.
this, and you have to. It also implies to have attention and to be concentrated in
Yes.
something.
Yes,
Of course.
Because
yes.
if not,
Yes.
you are not going to have
Yes.
determination.
Mhm.
And yes, we use in the Wednesday class one example which was very easy. For example, we wake up, the mind is there, and you feel a little bit unpleasant sensation in the bladder. You want to go to pee. So then you are there, and then the mind is like, really? Is it there? Do I really need to go to the toilet? The intention is still, the bed is so nice, you're still there. So the intention is there, then you determine, no, yes, I really need to go to the toilet. I mean, but then you say, no, I can wait a little bit more. So then, as long as the unpleasant sensation grows and determination comes, then comes the next one who says, no, yes, I must do something. Even the intention to stay on the bed is, when the intention of the bed is stronger, stay on the bed, and the unpleasant sensation is here, you stay on the bed. But then as this one comes up, then there is a point in the middle, then the mind starts doubting. Should I stay? Should I go? Should I stay? Should I go? But then if the unpleasant sensation grows, you say, man, it is more unpleasant than pleasant to be here. And then you decide, okay, then the whole effort, and then it's an occasional. Before it was already the possibility there, but effort is not, should I come in? No, not yet. The bed is very nice. Should I come in? No, not yet. And then at some point, okay, let's go. And then all the movement, all the thing happens, the mind is moving, go toilet, go pee, and then come back, go back to the bed or something. But we will see all these occasionals playing games, and teacher says that the one who has the more power, the most build-up energy, is the one who starts leading. So it will be, so all are there, but this one is leading now, this one is leading now, then this one, or something. They are doing the function, and our action, whatever, ¿cómo está, don Alex? Our action, as we move, actually, is it okay? Is it okay? It is like the action that we are seeing on a being, like, for example, we turn and we see our wife or husband going to the toilet, we can see a trait of the main ingredient acting, which is, I want to go to the toilet. The mind is saying that, and is pushing the body to go there, but all the ingredients are just changing. Like, have you seen the equalizers in the old stereos? Like the music is going, and then the bass is there, and then this one. I feel the mind ingredients like that. Sometimes this one is higher, sometimes this one is doing this. So it manifests in action as the most prominent. So then we can say, oh, that person has determination, or that person hasn't.
To stay with the example, so the Animoka, the determination, like it has to stay in order to keep you walking.
Yes.
So it has to
Actually,
repeat.
it has to repeat. It does not stay because it arises in the chitta.
Arises,
and
pass,
passes
arises.
away,
It has
but
to
it-
repeat.
yes,
Yes,
it has to
yes,
repeat
yes.
in
There's a
another.
chance that you might turn
Exactly.
around.
Yes, you turn around.
Exactly.
Another example of our teacher, which is another word, he asks us sometimes, do you know why you are sitting right now? And we say, what kind of question is that? He said, because the intention to sit is greater than the intention to be standing or lying down.
Yes.
That's why you are sitting right now. Wow, teacher. Yes, right now, every moment the mind has an intention. Right now we are intention to sit, otherwise the body will collapse. We need actually energy, physical energy coming from food, the food we took, in order to be sitting here and straight. So whatever intention there is on the mind, the body just goes to it. So we are sitting right now because the intention to sit is greater than the intention to be standing or dancing. He says, do you realize? And we are like, wow, teacher. It is like that. So it is working all the time. Most of the time, it is an occasional, but we can clearly say we always have determination for something. I want or do not want to do something. So the mind is,
So, yeah.
it's like boil. The mind is always boiling, doing something there, and the ingredients changing. Amazing, isn't it? And we are that.
The point that Marcus says is very important because again we are saying it microscopically. So it is not that Adhimokkha is there, the same Adhimokkha all the time until we go to the toilet and come back, no? So it's like many minds arises with Adhimokkha, passes away,
Yes.
arises, passes away, arises and passes away because we are talking about each chitta that has this ingredient.
And as you said it very softly, but yes, if you're going to the toilet and determination changes, you go to the kitchen. Have you opened the phone? You have determination to check your email, and then determination just changes to something else and turn off the phone.
You forget.
Oh, I needed to check this thing. Determination was allured by desire. Generally, you have determination, and then desire comes. Oh, let's go there, and then finish. So it really says how we are. This is us.
Yes. So
Don Alex
microscopic-
está in the cosmos.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so let's continue a little bit, and later on, if you would like to share with us what you understand.
How is it? Are you okay?
Yeah, no,
Very good.
it's mind blowing. Just realizing that it's super complex process that is taking place, and if we're not aware of it, we're just submitted to
Yes.
I am like this.
causality of it, but we cannot control it, and that's what makes it even more important to take an action, to contemplate it, to learn it, to
Directed.
direct it, yeah, to learn how to work with it, because otherwise we just randomly
Yes.
Moving.
Yes,
I will say
can
something that, yeah.
The whole purpose of understanding how it works and how it functions is is also the most important understanding of non-self.
yeah.
I think I do
to
this, I
purify
think I
that
want
thing.
to do this, I think I that, no. But actually it depends on so many conditions, not really because I want it that it happens, it's because of conditions, because of all these things that are working together, outside condition, inside condition, so many, everything is just about condition, not because of me.
Yeah, and so, I was thinking about like sometimes I think like, okay, just wake up feeling like this. And
I feel like
it just happened to me. Like, yeah, I went to bed late and I just wake up early, or I didn't sleep well, or whatever. But it's just like if it was happening to me, instead of thinking what I'm doing,
it's the
to-
result.
yeah, why,
Contributes to the
What-
situation.
how am I
and the
contributing for this? Like, because I can't control it if I learn how to do it.
At some degree, yes, because
Yeah.
karma has this force, but yes.
Yes,
but
you
also
can
that-
make
that-
the conditions.
And you're also making, because
Yeah.
you're making the new
Yes.
one. So when we say this is me, I have determination or not, I take it as a personal is the gravest mistake we do, and this is the mistake that the Buddha comes and says, no, don't hold it. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. So to say I am this one, I will say something which is what might sound a little bit strong, is the laziest way to approach reality. So the stronger part is that whenever we believe in a soul or a self, is the laziest thing to put the simplification of the whole universe and reality, put it, I am like this and that's it. So to believe, I take responsibility. I have never listened from the teachers, but I think it's very lazy to, okay, I don't understand how it works. Okay, put it into this box. It is your soul, it is yourself, this is you. Finish. And then we are like, I am like that. But actually, we are just a process. Very, somehow I feel the sensation of irresponsible to just put it onto, yeah, it is like this. No, it is not like that, and you are responsible for it, and you are making it for you and for the others. So this is the anatta, the non-self, the non-soul teaching of the Buddha goes to this, to see the process, and at one moment we are now somehow understanding it into a conceptual level. It will come to experiential level and sees, man, there is nothing but a process that I am responsible for. So very a lot of hope arising from this. If we all do take this responsibility and direct it, knowing that we can change it, man, so many social problems will be history, because we are all putting our part. So
Well, I think this is a very important moment for me because this is the topic of the issue of freedom, how free we are. And I would like to know, according to this position, I make decisions, but how free I am, and I have the reality of myself that I'm a free person to make really those decisions as part of my life process.
Beyond free, I would imagine that our teachers would put two words before, responsible and wise. Because yes, if I am free, yes, I can do bad or good, but it's here. I am free to do bad, I am free to do good, and we can see it in society. We know what kind of freedom we generally take, which is generally not very good quality. So teachers will put two words, responsible. Yes, you can change it, but you are responsible for it, good or bad. And then if we can put wisdom on top of that, man, let it be as free as you wish. Our teachers, we have listened some things on that line saying, as long as mindfulness, sati, and wisdom, panya, is in you, release the reins of the mind. Let the mind take you wherever. You are totally free now to do. As long as love, wisdom, compassion is there, you are as free as you want. But whenever negativity, ill will, desire, and violence is there, then we're not free, because we are trespassing the respect for oneself and to the other. Then is when ethically the teacher will say, nah, for this you are not free. So how free, how much free will there is, it depends on the quality of the ingredients that are present. But we are responsible.
Yes. And also at the same time, wisdom, it depends on how much wisdom there is. Let's say if there is a lot of wisdom, wisdom makes its choice and it does good, no? And it is free because it can choose to do good and it can choose how to do it and everything. But it is wisdom choosing, not I also. So wisdom is just another mental ingredient that is inside the chitta. Yes. So actually at the end, let's say, because it is a process of mind and matter, no? Because the Buddha says there is no I, no? And so it is the what we call I in this case, but actually is a bunch of cetasikas and chittas and rupa happening and arising and passing away. So let wisdom choose, let wisdom be free, but don't let the akusala, dosa, lova, moha, don't let them be free. Okay.
And it is based on a moral frame. Whatever is trespassing the respect for yourself, don't put yourself down or put don't disrespect someone. It's when the reins needs to be held and say, no, you are not free for this. Although we have the tendency, natural tendency for that. We can be aggressive, we can be lustful because of biology. So then is when the mental training comes in handy, because we can start our freedom. We choose the freedom, okay, be free to do good. Then a morality is sila is always in the back, guiding the thing. Otherwise, if we are just free, we see what it gives when freedom just without any filter on it.
Now I just realized something about freedom that has to do with what you were saying in terms of if we're connected with compassion, kindness, wisdom, generosity, like virtuous aspects of qualities, we can actually be free because we are releasing any attachment that can at least enslave the possibility of freedom. But if we pretend to act freely from anger or fear or any negative feeling, we're not actually free.
No.
We're enslaved by
the
negativity. We're just acting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's no freedom from that.
Yeah, the mind the mind is hijacked.
Yeah.
Negativity hijacks the mind, and our mouth is hijacked. We say horrible things, and our hands are hijacked by negativity. Wisdom is always at peace, and love, generosity, compassion always needs another one. You need to love someone. You need to be generous to someone. So that is taking us from our obsession of I myself It's taking us away from selfishness. It's anatta. It's putting the energy for goodness for others. So it is immediately we feel it feels, just to think about it is like, oh, much better. That sounds better. More different kind of happiness.
What
Okay.
time is it?
And just to mention, while we see the time, you can see this on the Buddha. That is wisdom. This is the symbol that they portray in an object. Wisdom is leading. As long as the flame of wisdom is there, let the mouth say whatever it wishes. Let the body do whatever it wishes. Go wherever you are totally free. As long as we keep this flame on us, wisely living.
Just one more question. I'm very enthusiastic today. Conviction. How do I get conviction of something? I mean, the Buddha gave us some clear idea. How do we really feel or know my knowledge of conviction? This is really truly the true, and I'm really being generous. I'm really having some wisdom. So I'm really convinced, so I don't hesitate and I take decisions.
There are two ingredients one ingredient specifically, which is sada, faith. The Buddha, the teachers hesitate very much to call faith.
Faith?
Faith. The Buddha, the teachers hesitate very much to say faith. They call it to be convinced, have security on what? Security that nature has confident that the universe has laws. I don't need to be confident that if I open the hand, this object will fall down. I don't need to have faith about it, because we all know it, and even a person who has not have any contact with intellectual cultivation will know that this object will fall. So the Buddha wants to have faith on the law of nature, and that good brings good and that bad brings bad. So as long as we keep on that, we will be convinced in a way of scientific method. There is a scientist, he brings a theory out, and everybody's just a speculation. Then they start trying it. When they say yes, even Einstein, recently they are saying yes, Einstein was right, because they already tested. So what do we have conviction? Big conviction in something that we have already experienced. So as long as it is as long as it is conceptual, man, all the threads are loose. Whenever we really see it, whenever we see that Nibbana really exists and that goodness brings happiness, then the conviction will be unshakable.
You don't have to believe
You don't have to believe on it.
Because
So
you know
that's the kind of conviction that the Buddha promotes in a higher level. This is the function, the characteristic of this ingredient is to have conviction. But this ingredient can be mixed at this level, can be mixed with ignorance. So I am convinced that hurting someone else will make me happy. So this conviction is ethically variable. So at this moment, we cannot disclose conviction. That's why I bring the big conviction, which is sada, faith, conviction in yourself, which is the powerful one, the good ones. This one, careful, because I'm convinced that by robbing, I will be happy, so this one is still, let's remind that we are still on the neutral basic ingredients of the mind. So yes, the Buddha speak about conviction beautifully, and it comes and takes away blind faith immediately, convinced on the law of nature. Nothing to believe, only to be it and become it. I mean, not as a person, but to experience it.
Yeah. So be patient and we'll cook soon. Because now we're gathering all the ingredients, and later we'll see which combine with what, and it will make a lot of sense.
Yes.
Like how they work together. Okay, now can we go on?
Yes.
Yes, Joanna. You want to take the lead?
Okay, so we have still Vidya, Piti, and Chanda. Do you want to take a tea?
Or continue? Democracy, raise hands. Continue. Pacas también.
Okay, so let's go. It's not so complicated, this one, so we can go a little bit faster. So, Vidya, effort, like Guillermo said, it is necessary. But here, effort, we have physical effort and we have mental effort. And here, since we're talking about the mind, we're actually talking about mental effort. So this is just an icon, no? Because, well, sometimes we say the mind is heart or brain, but mind is mind, so it's not heart or brain, but it's just an idea, so we know
Something
it's mental
around there.
effort. So it's not the physical effort that we're talking about. Now, when we talk about effort, the example is like now those on the team that are doing the work, like they are trying hard for it to achieve the goal. So this is the example that is given. And now, effort, viriya, mental effort. Then let's see its character. So what effort does is it actually is support. It's support because when we're doing something, we don't have effort, we just give up. Yes. So support and exertion, like
Discipline
power,
is kind of because okay again, okay
effort.
again, okay again, okay.
And
with
it's
the
a
mind.
motivation also, right?
That would
Motivation
be
is
different.
the job of chetana.
It's another one. Chetana.
Motivation encourage effort to continue supporting.
Because motivation can be motivated to good or bad. So it is another one that is always there, universal. But that is the one who. That's why it paints the cheetah on that moment, either good, kusala or akusala, because of the intention.
It depends on also other ingredients, if it is kusala or akusala. Because chetana.
Yeah, of course, the other ones.
I think it's that must be.
But effort also can be good or bad. Or
Yes, sure, it is ethically variable, but this is occasional. So sometimes there are some cheetahs that need effort and sometimes no. Say for example, one very easy one, resultant consciousness, say I consciousness, is a result. Remember, kusala vipaka or akusala vipaka, no? So it's a resultant of good past action or resultant of past good action. Then we see something nice or we see something not so nice. So this does not require any effort because it's just a result. It just happens that we're not really trying to do something. It's just a result. So with I consciousness, it's not associated with effort. So say for example like this, yes. Okay, so let's see its function. The function is to support its associated states. So it's doing effort to support everybody else. Then manifest as non-collapse. Because when there is no effort, then it falls down. So its proximate cause is a sense of urgency, like you really need to do something, so you put effort to do it, or a ground for arousing energy. So what does it mean by a ground for arousing energy? Then Sialo Silananda explains, say for example, energy or effort, viriya, is also a very important factor for meditation. Because if we don't put effort, if we don't try to do something, then we won't do something, no? We won't do anything. So that ground for arousing energy is say for example, we give a reason. Let's say, oh, tomorrow I will be very busy, I have to work and this and that and that. So now I have free time, better I meditate now. So that's a ground, that's a reason for something to, okay, I should put effort now, no? Or after I do the work and say, okay, now my work is finished, so now I have time, so I should do it now, no? So something, some reason for this effort to arise, yes? Okay, so this is, effort is also compared to be the beams, the extra beams to support old roof. If you don't have effort, then the old roof may fall down. So effort is like those extra beam and posts to hold the roof.
Effort is the opposite of sloth and torpor. Laziness. So that's what keeps us up. Let's keep it up, keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. So effort, as we see, we can put effort into helping someone in good, and effort can be also something wholesome or unwholesome. It can be. So it is ethically variable, yes? So as we see, now we just talked about effort, which is a very important ingredient for meditation. Now, sada and panya, confidence and wisdom, that is a pair. The 5 faculties, we have already seen this before actually. Then we have the pair of samadhi, concentration, and viriya, effort, that also should be balanced. And then we also have sati, which knows that if one of them is not enough, then we should make them balanced. Or if one is too much, then we should balance them for meditation to work, yes, for the mind to work. So now, viriya as one of the mental factor, 5 faculties, spiritual faculty, which is important for meditation, because it is also said that with viriya, with effort, it is actually the ones who burns the
Negativity.
negativities of the mind
Kilesas.
with energy. We need to do that. So that's why it is important, and also for understanding to arise, no? And so not only for meditation, but even just to do good and be generous, we need effort because we are doing something. So this vidya is actually a very important chetasika in supporting to do good. But of course, it can do bad also. But we're talking about now the wholesome part, that how it is important for doing good. Okay? Yes? Something? No? Okay. So let's continue. So now we finished with effort, and now let's go to piti. Piti, joy, we have already seen it in the jhana factors, and it is a joyful, curious interest about the object. Yes, so it refreshes the mind. Now, the characteristic of joy is endearing. It makes it like it's happy. And the function is to refresh the body and mind. When one is joyful, then mind feels refreshed, mind and body. Then it manifests as elation, mind feels like that. And its proximate cause is mind and body, because without mind and body, then joy cannot arise. So its proximate cause is mind and body. So now, joy, as we can see, it is an occasional and ethically variable, so it can be good, and it also can be unwholesome, as you have already seen this. I think you have already seen this picture
Someone
before.
didn't saw this one before? Yes, everybody, no?
So it
This,
feels like
is
she's
she
joyful.
joyful, happy or not?
Yes? Pity, she's
Pity
experienced
press.
pity or not?
Yes.
Yes?
Good or
Yes.
bad? Good. You think it's good or bad?
Bad.
Yeah,
Good.
it could be good or bad. So
Yeah,
but
that may-
actually joy is there. Now you can see that.
you
I
can
guess
see.
pity,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's real.
It's fake.
Oh.
Se está burlando de
So joy can, pity. That's why it is an ethically variable ingredient. Depends on what
Dangerous.
other ingredients is there. So if it associates with unwholesome mental factors, let's say for example we see our enemy sleep in a banana peel, then everyone is so happy, no? Like with joy is
Come
there.
on, I'm happy.
But anyway, but that is not wholesome.
Priceless.
So this
Bring the
pity,
camera, do it.
This
Yeah, do
joy-
it again, do it again.
it's already camera.
Yes.
So joy in that case is not wholesome. Yes, it's ethically variable. It depends on what other ingredients are there. So it can be good if you help someone, then you're happy about you helping someone, or you're studying and you understand something and you feel so joyful. Or it can be also associated with bad, when we are happy about some other people's misfortune or whatever.
One local comment. Unfortunately, this kind of pity, this kind of joy, it's quite celebrated in our culture, and it's sad. It's what we call
When you
carrilla.
gossip
What we
or
call
when you
carrilla
do
is
something.
to mock someone else that is not present, or even present, is bullying. And we culturally, unfortunately, rejoice in it. And it seems like a sport. Whenever we all get to certain kinds of friends, immediately there is something, and there is something to be pointing. And unfortunately, it's quite low energy. Quite, low, not just energy, but low quality.
Quality.
And this recreation, unfortunately, is considered as a nice. The person in our family who is the most carrilla, the one who mocks, is kind of in a special place. Oh, he comes. Okay, tell me something. He. So we need to clear up as much as we can, and minimum to not engage in it, not participate, not feel it, and if possible, as long as it's possible, a lot of elegance will be required. Try not to encourage it. Okay, change topic or do something. So this is a pity. This is a pity of the pity. English pity for this
Pali
pity.
pity.
English pity for this pali
Pali
pity.
pity.
Akusala pity.
Yes.
According to this position, I would like to know, is it easier to make bad things and you need more effort to do good things?
Sure.
So,
Sure.
I have one example. One time they asked the Dalai Lama, imagine the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, why?
Why is it so difficult to do?
So how come that doing bad is so easy and doing good is so difficult? He said, ancient teacher says that doing good is as difficult as pushing a mule,
Donkey.
A mule.
a totally load with things, no? Totally load mule uphill. It is as difficult as bringing a mule uphill. And the person says, I'm doing bad. He says, it's as easy as once you're on the top, you kick a stone. You just do the beginning, boom, 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 as easy to fall like that. He said, and nothing to do. Nature is like that, and that's why diamonds are expensive. Because they require a lot of purification, a lot of pressure, a lot of effort, a lot of temperature for it to become from graphite. So something black that is kind of dirty, cold, to become something crystalline and clear and that shines and pass light through it, in this case enlightenment, requires a lot of effort, pressure, and temperature. So yes, expect the refined, the valuable things take effort. I don't know nothing to do. The universe is like that. Cheap, there are a lot. So you can either kick stones on top of the valley or push the mule up. Yes, he said. Bonito, no? Very nice example.
Beautiful example.
But I think it also has to do with culture, no? There are certain cultures which are supporting competition more or doing evil to the other than others.
Yes. Yeah, there are some cultures who have more celebration of effort. For example, Japanese culture is something that it's planted in children very, very young, so it is easy for them to at the end, for example, I don't know if you have been in a party of Japanese people. It is at the end, okay everyone, party's over. Everybody like ants.
15 minutes.
15 minutes, and the thing is cleaned up better than as you arrived.
Wow.
Unbelievable, and they just like what it is. And then when they say, first of all, the first here the party never stops. No, it's like okay, I go see you tomorrow. And if it is weekend, you can be Saturday, Sunday, and wake up is breakfast and never stop. So the first thing that surprised me was that there was a moment. Okay, ladies, attention, ting ting ting, party is over. Okay, I said what? And then after that, everybody starts cleaning. What was happening? What? They lifting. Okay,
Yeah,
please excuse me. Take picture. What? Okay, now I go. What is
Many
this?
years ago, there was a party that we went. It's not just like a home party. It was a festival, so it has stages and speakers and everything. So everything is dismounted in not 15 minutes.
The point is that yes, in cultures, effort can be planted nicely. So now, what you're maybe also putting is what kind of effort. Because here, for example, we put a lot of effort onto don't stop the party, for example. Then make the party as long as possible. So we put effort on that. So okay, you go, see you later. We continue, and so it depends on the respect, ethical, and quality of the things we are putting effort onto. And yes, cultures do have different balance on it.
It also very much depends on also culture, of course, and character of people, education, and everything. But at the end, it's also it's karma. Also, like why this person is born there, not in Japan, let's say, for example. So, it all has so many conditions.
We need to learn. We need to learn.
So
Just one more thing.
Yes.
So it means that to be sad is easier than to have joy.
Depend on the character or
generally,
the character of the people.
Talking generally, yes, negativity is cheaper, is faster. That's why there is more. Otherwise, there will be a lot of wisdom.
Well,
Wisdom requires thinking. Wisdom requires stability. Wisdom requires a degree of time. We must give time to. That's why to be together here is very valuable, as our teacher says, because we're giving time. Let's just think. Let's just put things apart and check one thing, check the other one, see how they interact. It's like children. We're just doing it in order to cultivate. Yes, but negativity is more abundant, unfortunately.
but I would say also, let's
I
say
said, sorry, I need to clarify. I said more abundant.
Abundance.
More abundant. It should be this one. I'm sorry, I take that one out. More abundant.
Joyful.
But it depends, because as we already see, joyful can be joyful also, no? So in this comparison, it does not really, I would say, joyful with unwholesome or joyful with wholesome. Then joyful with unwholesome is more is easier than joyful with wholesome. Let's say in this comparison, yes, because say for example, if in negativity, we're only talking about negativity, a person who have a more greedy nature, then he can be joyful because I want this, I want that, I want this, and I'm so happy about everything I want. Then he may be very joyful, and he is not sad most of the time because he's very like this. So we cannot say that in this case that joy is more difficult than sadness because of his character of a greed character. If he has a tendency of so if the person is an angry person, then even he is difficult for him to be joyful, even in the sense pleasure, because I don't like this, I don't like that, no, nothing is good, and so like this, in this way I would say. Okay, so let's go. Now,
Good.
piti and sukha, we have seen in the jhana factors the difference. Now remember, so piti, the joy is the example that the teachers give is like when a person, when they are traveling in the desert and when they see an oasis, then they feel like, yes, joyful, like that, but they are not there yet. They only saw it and then they are feeling joyful. And sukha, that happiness, mental factor, that happiness, is when they now arrive there and then they jump in and then they drink water and then take a shower. Then that's the happiness, that's sukha.
And I will tell you one kind of pity that unfortunately happens a lot in nature, and we are in the desert, we see the oasis, pero era un espejismo.
It
So
was
you're
a
right,
mirage.
it was a mirage and
An
you're right, but
illusion.
perception change of bad news.
Well, anyway, so this is just the difference and how the feeling of joy you can understand, like you're very tired and
Yeah, that's sukha and piti, just the thought of something.
or you see it actually, you see
Mental.
it but not arrive there yet, but the feeling. Okay, so it's piti and sukha. Now we finish with piti, let's go to chanda.
We'll finish, Jana?
We still have Ahusala Universal if we want.
Okay.
I'm prepared. Now we still have 30 minutes, good.
Yes.
So chanda is a wish to do. So it's like action, like there is like you want to do something. But this awareness is not really nothing to do, and I don't pay attention to this. I just found this image because of the desire and action, like want to do something. But don't worry about this.
We can do Photoshop.
Yeah,
and-
we need to. Yes, I have to clean it up. Okay, so chanda is a wish to do something. Now let's see the four the four devices, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail. So the characteristic is a wish to act, want to do something, and function is searching for an object because they want something. No, so it must have an object, and it manifests for us a needing of an object, needing to do something, and its proximate cause is the object itself. Now, chanda is like when you do want to do something, then the example is like the girl, she's taking the arrow from the quiver because she wants to shoot. Yes, so it's like chanda is like doing that. Now we will come back to this now. Now, chanda here is ethical variable. Now we are looking at the family. So it can be good and it can be bad. If we want to do something about the environment, like we do some voluntary job, volunteering or whatever, it's good. And we want to learn, we want to be better, or we want to help someone and teach the little kids, or even we want to meditate, let's say. So this wish to do of these things, in this case, it can associate with kusala, it can associate with good, so this chanda is good. But also, we can also wish for good sound, good taste, a good touch, and good smell, and sense pleasure. We can also want, yes? So we wish to have this also. So in this case, we have already seen this word. Specifically, we want to mean with this desire, then it is called kama chanda, sense desire. Then we have already seen in the 5 hindrances, actually.
Just making a clarification, it felt like this is good and that is bad. It's not totally bad. If attachment and more desire arise, yes. But if we experience sound, beautiful sounds, beautiful sights or sensation, pleasure exists, but as the only thing the teachers point out is do not get attached to it and wish for more and more, being enslaved by it.
Yes.
So just to make the clarification, it sounds like this is good and it's not that it is bad, it's just making
it is in this case
less.
because now we are talking about wanting it. We are talking about wanting to get this.
Yes, but
no?
opening, yes. Yes, in general,
Because it's
kama chanda will be that thing that we
Unwholesome.
want more and more.
Yes.
But just
Of
putting
course,
it-
as Bante said, that clarification that if we experience good taste is nothing bad. If we are not attached to it and I want it every time, every day, then that becomes the desire, no? It's actually loba. So in this case, yes, but what we are talking about now is in this group. But of course, yes, as Fancy said, we have to know that having these things is not bad in itself. It's the attachment to these things that it is not good. Yes? Okay, so now we may say, well, we have already seen this in the 5 hindrances, no? Like when we meditate, if all this is happening, then the mind is not stable. Like if we are wanting like sense pleasure, or if the mind is restless, or if we have ill will, doubt, or sleepy, slot and torpor, then this is the hindrance.
These are the enemies of mental cultivation. 5 enemies.
So one of them are kamachanda.
Yeah,
So I only put this because we have seen it before and also where it comes from. Yes? Okay, so now, in this case, this kamachanda is actually, we're talking about loba. Yes?
Yep.
So we may say, then why don't we say then that all chanda of unwholesome, just call it loba, and then all the other chanda that is good, just call it chanda. No, in this case, then why do we have to have chanda, good and bad in this case? So now it is because, what about dosa? When we have dosa, do we want to do something? What do we want to do when we have dosa?
Strangle.
Yes, we want to destroy. Yes, we want to destroy. So chanda can also associate with dosa, because it wants to destroy. It is want to do something. No, so it's not all the time loba. So that's why we cannot say that all chanda that is bad is loba, because also it can associate with dosa. Yes, so that's why it has unwholesome and wholesome. So if this chanda associate with good qualities, with compassion, with loving kindness, with wisdom, then of course it is a wholesome mind. Yes. So if the chanda associate with greed of wanting sense pleasure or wanting this and that, then it is loba mula chitta, then greed-rooted consciousness. And if this chanda associate with dosa, want to destroy something, then it is dosa mula chitta. So they are different kinds of chittas. Yes. Okay. So now, chanda also, why is it not all the time is with law? I mean, why don't we say it's loba? No, we say it's because also even if it associates with loba, its function is different. Loba is the attachment to the object, yes. But that chanda that associate with loba is like when you take the arrow and you want to shoot, but you don't have attachment to the arrow. You don't want to keep the arrow. Yes, because you want to shoot the arrow. So chanda is only the wish to act. You're not attached to the action, not attached to the arrow itself. Yes, that's the job of loba with the object. Now, but chanda, his job is only he wish to do something. Yes, is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, now congratulations. We have finished Vitaka, Vichara, Adhimokkha, Viriya, Piti, and Chanda, which are ethical variable occasionals, cetasikas. Yes? Okay, so now we still have like 20 minutes. Now why don't we take a cup of tea and then come back and we will look a little bit more of other ingredients.
Yes, let's take a little
Great. Okay, so let's go. Now, we have already finished the ethical variable group, universals, and also occasionals. We have just saw this now. So now we are going to the other part, which is a little bit more dramatic. Whoa. So now let's go. Let's go to a production of Samsara with the director of Moha and cameraman Loa. Okay, so this is more emotional and dramatic. Let's see what's going to happen. Now, in Akusala, it's also divided into 2 groups. Yes, as we saw already, universal. This universal means whenever there is an Akusala chitta, then they will always be there. But they does not mean that all chittas. Yes, so they are Akusala universals.
Universal of
Of
akusala.
Akusala
Always
only,
present
only.
when
Yes?
the mind is in the negative neighborhood.
But in general, they are not in the totally general universal group, because if it is kusala, they are not there, obviously. Yes? Okay, so those occasionals are those that associate with akusala, and sometimes yes, sometimes no, in this group. So now let's look at the kas. then we have the Loba group, we have the Dosa group, and we have another one that is called another group. So now here 4 groups. So the universal group, Loba, Dosa, and the other.
No pinta muy bien esto.
So now let's see. We'll now present to you the cast of Universal. First we have Moha, our main character, and we have Ahirika, moral shamelessness. Ahirika.
Oh,
Now then we have Anotapa,
moral
moral fearlessness, and we have Udacha, restlessness. So these 4, the cast of this universal, these 4, is always present with the unwholesome Ahusala Chitta. So whenever there is an Ahusala Chitta, there will be the 7 universal, the 7, Fasa, Manasikara, all this that we have already seen. Then 6 occasional, sometimes yes, sometimes no, depending on the situation. And these 4 must be. If it is Ahusala
Ahusala.
Chitta. Yes? So Moha, Ahirika, Anotava, and Utacha. Now, so with these 4, we now will like to present to you the Loba group. Now the Loba group is of course Loba, the main character, Loba and greater attachment. And then we have Titi,
Yo opino.
Romeo. I think it is like this, and yes. And we have Mana, pride and arrogance. So this is the Loba group. Very, very dramatic. Yeah. So now we have the cast of Loba group. Then now we would like to present to you the cast of Dosa. Dosa, we
Dosa
have
itself.
a version, any kind, include all kinds of all the
Sadness, boredom,
and everything
ill will.
that we already saw. And then we have Isa, envy and jealousy. And then we present to you Machriya, that is stinginess.
Mine.
And we have Kukucha, that is remorse and worry. Yes. Okay, so this is the Dosa group. And now let's go to the other group.
What is stinginess?
Stinginess is like, I don't want to share. This is mine, I don't want to share with you.
¿Me das? No.
Yes? Okay. So the other group, we have 3 more personality and 3 more group, and 3 more actors. First one is Tina, laziness, and then we have Mira, like Topper,
What is that?
Cabeceando. Torpor is like
like slot,
sopor
like,
en español.
without energy.
Así, cuando cabeceamos ahí estamos.
And we have Wijikicha,
Doubt.
the guide of doubt. Yes? Okay. So now we have all the 14 main actors of the drama. Yes. 14 of them. Okay, so now this is just an introduction of all of them, and we will go to see each of them one by one to see their characteristic and
All
what they do.
the problems in the world have
First
come
of these
because of these 14 guys.
guys.
All the problems, all the wars, all the killings, all the rapes,
Let me
all of the things have come because of these 14 guys. And we are all carrying them. We have
Actually,
experienced
it
them in
is.
the past and they are still in. So
14 guys.
these 14 guys, all the madness in the world came because of this. And they relate to one another, they inspire one another, they push the other one, they ask the help from other. Okay, I can do it, so you do it. So
Yes.
se pone
So
de-
as you see, these 4, they are Ahusala universal. So any kind of Ahusala, these 4 is always there. And then this group, Loba group, and Dosa group, they are not compatible with each other. So say for example, when there is greed, then you cannot want something in the same time and
don't
don't
want
want something, no? So that's why they are occasionals. Sometimes if this is there, then might be with this one, might be with this one, or might be with this one, but not together
Not
with
these
this
two.
one. So it depends on the combination. Yes.
But
Okay.
we wanna see the chart.
Yes, we have to see the
The
chart
picture.
in chapter 3, and we will
Okay.
see which one goes with which one. So here we present you there already, and all the characters. Now let's go to Moha, the first one. Moha, the thing that he is best in doing is is that it makes reality very
Blurred and
blurred.
all.
So it doesn't let us see the reality as it is. Makes it like
Mental
so it
obscurity.
makes it blind. No,
It's
blinds the
opposite
mind.
of wisdom, opposite of
Awareness.
light, darkness, few fuzziness. No, 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 don't see.
Yeah, he is the magician to make us see good in bad and bad in good.
Oh.
So and beautiful into not beautiful into beautiful. So it flips the thing upside down. So we see impermanence as permanence. We see not self as self, and we see all kinds of mental distortion.
We see happiness in suffering.
And
So
suffering as happiness. And so this is the job and of moha. This is what it does. It's specialty.
And it is, I think, is like the most difficult to perceive.
yes, because we cannot know what we don't know.
Because when we are
Exactly.
How
already
to know what I don't
then
know?
we don't
So
know.
it is the biggest enemy.
Theo,
That's why wisdom, do these kind of sessions, trying to cultivate wisdom, is the antidote, because we cannot directly hold ignorance. We just can make a lot of light, so the more light there is, the less darkness it is. If we have we turn off all the lights and just one little match, well, only this light we have. So we need to make a big light so we can understand what is around
Yeah.
and inside,
Yeah.
inside and out.
as it is more difficult to spot, the only thing, as one said, is to create its opposite, no? To cultivate as much wisdom as possible. So when there's more wisdom, then there is less delusion.
We will keep it
So
away.
this is what moha
Do.
and delusion does.
Ah.
We think we're doing good to ourselves, but actually not really. Yes. Okay. So I think the picture says more than
Einstein, let me say this, Einstein one time, I'm sure you have listened before, he described, he said one thing, in the universe there are only two, in this reality there are only two things that are infinite. The universe, the universe and the stupidity of man. And he said, actually thinking better, I'm not very clear about the universe. Stupidity definitely is infinite.
Okay, so moha, let's look at the 4 devices. Its characteristic is mental blindness or unknowing. So it's like we don't see reality as it is. And its function is to the concealment of the real nature of things. So the example that teachers gives is like a blindfold, that it doesn't allow you to see reality as it is, really how reality is. And the next one is the absence of right understanding or mental darkness. It's its manifestation. It manifests as darkness. And its proximate cause is unwise attention. Pay attention to things that
We put attention to things
the
that
wrong things.
the wrong
That's it.
thing.
Yes. Okay, so this is about moha. And we have Ahirika and Anotapa and Udacha. But now it's 10:55. Should we continue a little bit? So continue.
Yes, just briefly.
Brief explanation.
Okay, just like an introduction.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Ahirika and Anotapa. Now Ahirika is compared, the Buddha is merciless in this case to the unwholesome factors. He said that Ahirika is compared to a pig that is shameless in
Bathing in
its own excrement or eating excrements. It's as shameless as that. So
Not unmoral.
that means that we are not shameful about doing bad, mentally, verbally, or physical action. Then we are not afraid of doing bad. So
When we are
whatever
angry,
we
we
do,
are not
we're
ashamed of
we're
being
not
angry.
ashamed of
At that
doing
moment
bad.
or later, maybe, but at the moment we are angry, there is no shame on saying bad words. There is no shame in.
This is
So-
like PT.
It associates with DT, but they have different functions. DT is a wrong view, no? So it's holding on to a view.
Wrong ideas.
It's a wrong idea, but this is just only being shameful of whatever kind of bad,
Shame, shameless.
unwholesome.
And wrong idea fuel this,
Don't feel
because
bad
you
about
have the
doing
wrong
bad.
idea. We give ourselves permission to get angry and then to bathe in our own negativity and shit.
And this one is now we are looking at the universal of Ahusala, no? So if it is associated with Diti, then it is associated with greed family, no? But in Dosa group, then it is not. But here also Dosa group is not afraid of, not feel bad about being angry. So it's like this. We do that. Yes. Okay. So Anotapa, his friend, he is not afraid of consequences. So whatever bad he's doing, he never mind. Like if later I feel I suffered, or if later I have other consequences, I don't mind. So he's not afraid of what will happen, what's going to happen.
Neither worldly consequences
nor
nor karma. Of course, if a
yes.
person has no notion of karma, he don't care. He can do bad and he gives permission. So this is the core of immoral behavior. These two ingredients are the this is very strong.
Anotapa is the example of like a moth. He's not afraid of the fire, but he wants it and he wants to get it, and so he gets burned. No, like so. This is the.
He can cause his
It can
cause his life.
but he's not afraid of it.
And in terms of samsara and the existential round, it is true. We do bad and we die again and die again and die again and never free from it, because we still think that is good, wholesome or beautiful, and then we continue going to the object that ultimately destroys us.
So ahirika, moral shamelessness, its characteristic is absence of disgust at bodily and verbal misconduct. Now here we have a problem, because it says bodily and verbal misconduct. So last night I called our teacher and I said, why is it mental not mentioned? Because then it sounds strange to me. So our teacher, because where does this come from? It comes from the Abhidhamma Sangaha, this English translation. In English it's called a comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma. So this character is written here like this: absence of disgust about bodily and verbal misconduct. So I called our teacher last night, and then he checked the Pali sources. He checked 4 places. He checked Sutta Nipada, Visuddhimagga, and also Anguttara Nikaya and other commentaries about this. And he said actually it says that absence of disgust in Pali at bodily misconduct, etc. So that means the 3: bodily, verbal, and mental. So maybe here in the book or in the translation something is missing. So just to let you know. So actually we should put it at unwholesome actions in general. So it means that bodily, mental, and verbal, the 3 of them. So in your notes, because I sent you PDF and the notes before I checked with teacher. So in your notes it's still with bodily and verbal. So please correct it in your own notes. Okay, so its function is doing evil things, obviously. Moral shamelessness. And manifestation is not shrinking away from evil. So he's not going back. He's just going forward.
He's not
even
shying
as bad.
away from the.
So what is the proximate cause? This is lack of respect for self. He does not respect himself, so he can do whatever bad he wants to do.
For himself. So
Himself.
we have no shame of putting ourselves as low as to steal or as low as to anything, because we don't respect ourselves. So
No respect. Yes. So. And Anotapa, since they are friends and they always arise together, the causes and things are basically similar. In this case, the absence of dread or an account of unwholesome action, so he's not afraid of doing bad. And function, same, doing evil things. Manifestation, also, he's not going backwards from doing evil. But now the proximate cause is he has no respect for others.
So he takes the properties, he harms someone else. Because respect is the essence finally of moral behavior.
So we can say Ahirika and Anotapa is a no respect him.
Yeah.
So no respect for oneself and no respect for others. So the Buddha says that the opposite of this is actually Hiri and Otapa. Remember, A is the negation, not the negative. So in the beautiful Cetasika, we are going to look at that. Hiri and Otapa. Now here is Ahirika and Anotapa. And the Buddha says that Hiri and Otapa means that one is one respect oneself and respect other, and is shameful of doing bad, and and not afraid, but he knows the consequences of doing that, so he doesn't do it. So the Buddha said these two beautiful Chatasika are the guardian of the world.
Imagine the guardians of the world, the opposite.
Opposite of
these
these two.
Hiri and Otapa.
Otapa.
Beautiful.
So Ahirika and Anantapa. Okay, so now let's say that we have made an introduction. We will leave Udacha for next time.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So that's
Let's
it.
close. What are we bringing home? Let's see what we bring home today. And that is very beautiful when we wrap up, and it is very nice to hear what touch and we enrich. I feel that part very enriching. So let's do that. Whoever wish, and adelante.
I think that it's a lot of responsibility from my mind and try to think ways to notice those. You know, personally try to find a way to notice and do something because I know the consequences even clearer than before. So I think it's a lot of responsibility.
Teacher will add this responsibility with gentleness, patience, and understanding. Oh, there is this process has been going for a long time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it has happened to me. Teacher warned it, and it happened. Sometimes we see the responsibility and how the mind tendency is. We might get a little bit So just to keep that, yes, it is as it is. I am a scientist, and accept this is not me. Actually, we don't own this process. So look at it and try to move it, and it will take a little bit of time because the force is coming. Thank you.
Well, I'm trying to understand still the usefulness of these universal factors that we see before. In terms of identifying them, can help me to like divert away from the bad moral aspect of them. I don't know if I'm explaining myself.
Not to use them and not to let them associate with negativity.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah.
they will do their job and they will
Exactly,
sense it.
because they will be present, but now just try to use them for good.
The pity and the joy and also the effort and all
Yeah.
these things.
Yes.
Yes.
For me, it's like it's crazy because I know I've heard this part before when we saw it on the Wednesdays, and then the refresh is like over and over again trying not to identify myself with the mind. It's one of the aspects that I'm bringing home today. It's very present for me in this time, so it helps me a lot because it's so easy. I can see myself so easily drifting. Oh, I'm angry, or I'm really anxious, and then when I take the eye out of it and I see the mind, it's like peace coming. So I feel really peaceful right now with this awareness. So thank you.
That's right view.
Yeah.
Yes.
The teacher to call right view, he makes 3 phrases. One, the first thing we must remember and say it when we are experiencing reality, he says, remember that everything is a natural process. It doesn't belong to me. What can I learn? If we keep these 3 phrases, everything, whatever I'm experiencing is a natural process. It doesn't belong to me. And then what can I learn? Why immediately we took them the identification and the right view. This is what called, and in the blue book, he talks a lot about that because he says it's the essence of getting into purifying the mind without being the process too painful, because we are taking I am bad, then later on, because it happens to all of us, we start judging and things. So remember, I am a scientist, I want to learn, it doesn't belong to me, what can I learn? And then immediately
Wow, this
so
is really good.
These 3 phrases are gold. And even just one at the end, teacher boiled it to everything is nature. So just remember this phrase many times a day, everything is a natural process. Everything is nature. Todo es naturaleza. So the mind already knows and stays beside, responsible, taking care of it, but without getting like the pig.
Yeah.
without there. It is clean, looking at the mess, but like from the side like this, oh, this is very smelly, but we are safe.
Yeah, and it's true. One last comment. When we saw after laziness, what is it when you do this?
Torpor.
Uh-huh. So when I saw that, immediately I said, "Oh my God, I do this," and then I start doing this. And now with this tip that this exercise you gave me is like, oh, okay, so okay,
Everything we make.
what can I learn from it? Because the first instinct I have is like, oh, I do it, it's so bad.
Bad girl, bad girl.
Exactly, yeah.
Bad
Everything happens
Oh,
because
yes.
there are conditions for these things to happen. So what we need to do is, like, we are not wanting to change the effect,
But-
because it is not possible to change the effect not changing the causes. So effect is not our responsibility, be it wisdom or be it understanding or anything. We cannot want that, but we can make, like Alex was saying, like, make the conditions for the effect to change.
change.
Because
Change.
conditions, like causes changes, effect will surely change. So let's say he said that if he doesn't want to wake up sleeping badly, he just go to sleep a little bit earlier, let's say.
Yeah.
So he's changing the conditions and causes,
Yeah.
and so the effects will become different. So in this case, if there is lot and torpor, we can also investigate what is causing that, and what is it, and see what we can
Our
do.
responsibility are the causes, not the effects. We
Yeah.
change the causes, the effect will change. And to quote again Einstein, which was already, he said that the essence of stupidity was expecting a different outcome doing the same things. He said that's the essence of stupidity. You want to change something without changing the causes. So, I mean, it's just general. I'm not,
Yeah, no.
all of us do the same. Like, so we need to change, understand the causes and change them. Then the effect will be just a natural process.
Yeah.
¿Alguien más?
I take home a lot of like respect for the work of Buddha or for this.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
No, for dissecting the mind into little pieces of those factors which oh wow, they're so different thing, which appear to me first like, well, they're the same. But if you look at them closely, you see, this is different, but very slightly.
Very
different.
slightly,
So
exactly.
this is wow, very amazing.
He was good.
Yes.
He was a very, I mean, just to understand this is one thing, but to be able to explain it in such a detail and so simple, with so simple explanation, it is like, oh,
I want to say something.
yes, yes.
These details that the Buddha is doing, sometimes it could be difficult for us to say, let's say we sit in meditation and we want to see one of this. It's a little bit difficult because, as you see in one chitta, they are working together. So who does which function and like this? We know that the mind does all these functions, but who do what like this is a little bit difficult to see. So it has actually in the scriptures it's explained that what the Buddha did, how amazing and how like worth of respect, as Marcus says, is like he sees the ocean and he sees which drop of water comes from which river. It's like that.
Yes, that was his job.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And in the example, he said, oh, this drop came from the Ganges River. This drop came from the Arjuna River. This, that is his very respected teacher. Someone else? Let's do one each, and let's somos poquitos.
I'm gonna be like really honest, and I don't know what I'm bringing home, because theoretically I think I'm getting it, but once I'm trying to bring it to practice or to apply it in my daily life, really I'm not being able to.
How?
So I'm just being relaxed about it because I don't want to be demanding with me, and so today there's nothing I can share with you like, hey guys,
This-
today. So I'm just being like, let it go through, let it get in, let it sit down, and then I know it's gonna be an explosion, or a little one here and a little one, but I think I need time. It's been a rough 2
But
weeks, and now
All
that
of
I
us
just
do.
All of us,
I
yeah,
think
we
we're
are
the
in the
same
same
with
page.
that.
Great. Yes.
Sealuta Genia says, just keep it in the back of the mind.
Yes,
It's very
exactly.
precious information. It will do its job. It's not our
Yes.
job to do the job
Don't
of
have
wisdom.
to try.
It's gonna
Wisdom
happen.
does not belong to us. But now, at least, we put the effort to be here and putting the attention for it. It will do, I mean, very carefully, it will do its magic. we just let nature do its job. It's already, it's like when something it's very hard and you say, okay, put it into water, then later on you can work with it like beans. You
So-
try to take the bean, you put it soaking. Now it's soaking in wisdom, so very good, very good water. So eventually the seed is there and pop, it will come up whenever it's time, and we are all in the same.
Yes.
Thank you for your sincerity. And we are together in everything that's happened.
I
Same trip.
feel that. So
Flying
Yeah.
together, flying together.
And also we need to understand that it's very deep and microscopic. So we need to have patience in order to gather more information until the big picture comes up. It's like doing a puzzle.
Yeah.
When we do the puzzle like few pieces, then we
Yes.
see there it is something, but I don't know what it is. So just keep it there, never mind. Then when we have more, then it will show.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think that this is starting to clarify some things, but at the same time, getting more obscure things.
Opening more
Open.
voices.
More questions, let's say.
Perhaps love of more knowledge, the desire of knowledge. But I think that faith is very important in the way you are putting it in conviction. Conviction is the experience, it's not just a belief of something beyond our natural experience. So that word really like me, conviction. And also the conviction is always in the risk of having sagna auditi, which is for me one of the most dangerous things that you can have in your mind. Because of ignorance, you can see things in a way that are twisted. And you can change bad for good and good for bad. So that is the obscure part saying, well, I don't want to fall into that conviction that I'm doing well when it's not well. But at least with the word respect, I think I'm going to be more objective and not to fall into the idea that I can not unrespect other people and feel that I'm doing well. That's
It's
my
like a degree of humility, no? Like,
exactly.
okay, just respect them. We will be safe as long as we respect ourselves and respect others.
Exactly.
We will be safe. So sila, we know we are not harming no one. That
It is
the thing will do its job. Yes.
That's thank you.
Don Pacas,
Thank you.
gracias.
Well, I just want to say thank you for all the work you are doing for us. Thank you.
Truly.
Gracias.
Gracias a todos. Thank you. Thank you. So let's close today, my dear family, and we continue exploring in our daily lives, and see you next Sunday. May all the seeds fall in good ground, so many fruits spring up of it. Nature will do its job. We can trust that. We don't need to have, as Guillermo says, we don't need to have faith in it. Nature will always do what its conditions are. With that intention, may all these seeds of effort and wisdom be the source for our final liberation of all suffering, that of ourselves and our family. And we repeat. Idano punyam nibbanasa pacheyo hotu. Idano punyam nibbanasa pacheyo hotu. Idano punyam nibbanasa pacheyo hotu. May these fruits benefit our family, all beings we know, we don't know, especially those who suffer more than us. And with that intention, we repeat. Idano punyam sabasatana pajima. Idano punyam sabasatana pajima. Idano punyam sabasatana pajima. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise will later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at peace, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at peace. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Just like a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the sky and downwards to the depths, across and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. This was the Metta Sutta, the loving kindness sutta that the Buddha instructed to the monks to repeat. May this sutta inspire us this week, and see you next one. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Charana, so much.
Samasa, Deva,
Nibbana-san,
Nibbana-san,
Pacheyo.
Pacheyo.